Good afternoon, and welcome to One Meets the Eye. I'm your host, Blind Prime, and for today we're going to be finishing up the Ironhide series by covering Ironhide in his vehicle mode. I am, of course, talking about Studio Series 86 Ironhide, and I as well have a grouping of Ironhide molds here to showcase the differences in the vehicle mode, as I did in the robot mode video. And though I didn't really cover the differences in Transformers, though if you want in Blindformers, I mean, the differences in the transformations. But if you wish to see any of that, I do have a Blindformers episode devoted to the Ironhide mold from Siege, and I have another Blindformers episode talking about the Earthrise mold and the differences between the two molds. So makes it 3 Blindformers episodes I've done on the Ironhide molds so far. So let's start by comparing Ironhide to Crosshairs right here. And of course, I gave Crosshairs all the guns because, it's Crosshairs. Though, oddly enough, he doesn't have as many gun ports as, say, Hound, which is just weird. Like, you would think Ironhide would have more ports than Hound. I do love that part where you can plug the gun in the center. That's cool. That's always a fun part of this guy. All right, there we go. We've got all the accessories cleaned off of him, and now he's even with the other two. And so to begin off, let's just do a nice little comparison of all of them. We'll put them bumper to bumper, and then we'll look at the fronts and see if there's anything in the front. I have Ironhide in the center, Shattered Glass Ratchet on the right, and Crosshairs on the left. And here we go. So the two molds for the Siege and Earthrise, let's move the Ironhide all the way to the right and put the Siege and Earthrise together next to each other. And then we'll put the Ironhide next to them on the very end. So now Ironhide's on the right and Shattered Glass is in the middle. Now I've noticed here, okay, so Shattered Glass, the Earthrise mold, is taller than both of them. The other two molds. Do a side there. We've got the Ironhide. Yeah, this thing's a little bit taller than the Ironhide, just a bit. And it's that shield thingy that you put on the roof, which many people dislike, but I still think it's really cool that this character comes with such a large shield. It's actually the top of the vehicle. I just thought that was really neat, and they didn't get that. They didn't need that much flack for it. It was a cool idea. It's just that it was the wrong Transformer to give it to. I do like the guard. That was a correct idea, using the Tower Shield person for the guard for Kingdom. Or was it Legacy Guard? Yeah, it was the Legacy, wasn't it? It was like DK2 or something like that. Anyway, now we're gonna move them around again, and we've got the Siege Ironhide mold in front of the Studio Series 86 Ironhide mold. And here we see that the Studio Series 86 Ironhide is the taller Ironhide, and though it's not the longer one, the Siege and the Earthrise are still longer, and the Siege one, of course, has that more narrow, that very V-like cut for the windshield. It's highly angled. This thing looks more like it's just a machine built for moving heavy loads from one place to another, and there's no aesthetics put into it. It's kind of like what a robot would consider to be a heavy cargo vehicle, but a medium load cargo vehicle. So that's cool. Now we've got to finally flip them all around to the back ends, and we see the best part. This has got feet. We can put him on his feet. This has got feet. We can put him on his feet. Look at that. The Studio Series 86 Ironhide ain't got feet. I mean, you can still put him there, but he angles back and kind of rolls and may fall. You can't set him down on his bumper like you can with these guys. Like, these guys just set so well in their bumper. Look at that. Look at that. And it dances around. Yeah, it's a dancing car. Okay, we are done with the Earthrise and the Siege Ironhides, so we're just going to park them down here for a little while. And we're going to bring out our friend Mr. Cliffjumper. Cliffjumper, where are you at? Where are you at, Cliffjumper? Where have you wandered off to? Here you are. Holy crap, Cliffjumper. You still got Bumblebee's big gun? Yeah, you like Bumblebee's big gun. Of course you would. But we're going to have to remove that for now, Cliffjumper. Give me the gun. Thank you. Alright, so let's see. The Cliffjumper on the Studio Series 86 Ironhide. Bumper to bumper. Back bumper to back bumper. Alright, and we line that up. Now we've got the Studio Series... not Studio Series. The Earthrise Cliff Jumper goes about halfway, a little more than halfway through the wheel on the very front of the Ironhide mold. So it's just on the other, just towards the front bumper of that center spoke. So it's going into the diameter, and it's covered all the radius. So we're going to put the Cliff Jumper to the side, but first let's put Cliff Jumper on top. Look at that. Ironhide here is wide enough where if you wanted to, you could strap Cliff Jumper down to the top. That's how Ironhide carries his favorite, his favorite cars. Straps them down to his roof. The thickness, on the other hand, is Cliff Jumper is, usually, as he is, a lot thinner, but this one time he's almost a fingernail's width thick. Not thickness of a fingernail, the width of your finger. Okay. All right, so we're going to put Cliff Jumper down there on the side. Let's pull out the handy dandy Lego pad, and let's see if the Ironhide mold follows some traditions. It's not as wide as typical. Is it? Let's see. Let's double check this. What's going on with that? Let's see. All right, so we got Earthrise right here. Earthrise Ironhide mold is also not 8 studs. It's 6 studs. So Ironhide, so they're both the same width. The Earthrise and the Studio Series 86 at 6 studs in width. Let's check out length for Studio Series 86 Ironhide. And your length goes bumper to bumper. There we go. And that gives us 17 studs wide. And now height-wise, send it over here, and bam, right there, it's at 9 studs in height. Now we can set the Lego pad off to the side. We're done with it. So this guy he's got some decent scales to him. He's definitely in the 1/32 scale that we've seen for the new way of doing the chug scale stuff. And this vehicle is pretty weighty too. It's got some decent weight to it. It's complicated. Like I said in the transformation, when you get this vehicle put together, it is a solid vehicle. It's not solid until you get everything put together, but it seems like it uses a lot of a lot of strain in there and a lot of pressure to keep it all together tight. Like everything fits together, but once you get it all lined up, it causes itself to stay together by forcing, by pushing on everything. It's pretty neat how that's working. How the act of these pieces pushing upon each other is actually what's keeping it together more so than the fact that they are all pinned together. I think that's a really cool aspect of this engineering job for this vehicle, and I just wanted to make sure it was put out there that, the engineers on this one, they did a damn good job with it. Of course, the negative I have on this vehicle, because I have a few. Number one is there are no siege ports. I mean, there's weapon storage, so that's okay. But there's no siege ports, which I don't know how I feel about with this guy. It feels so nice, but I'm gonna have to take away a point for not having any siege ports. I'm sorry, or at least, you know what? I'll take away half a point, because this thing's got it's got ports for its weapons it comes with. So it isn't like he can go unarmed into battle. He's got multiple places to put them. Let's give that a showcase real quick. So we're going to just use one. We'll keep the other one underneath and acting as a muffler. And look, so so you get the wheel right there, and right behind the wheel we've got a connection point. I think, is that a connection point for one of these? No, it is not. It is actually a pin. It is too small to be a connection point for this for the gun, which is a shame. If they had made that a little thicker, that would have been really, really a cool Easter egg. Would be that you can actually put the guns on the sides of the vehicle too, and act as pretend that they are running boards that actually fire at things. So there is no place to put the weapon on the side, but there is a place to put it on the top, and we got a spot right there. Come on. Come on now. Hey. I know. There you go. Cool. Look at that. Put it up there at the very top. We're just going to leave it like that. So it doesn't have any places to put the weapons on the side, sadly, but it does do on the top. So another aspect about this vehicle that does make it a little annoying is that there's this big hinge. Like they've done a good job. See, you can see with, we'll do a comparison. Okay, so we've got Earthrise hinge for the Earthrise mold. Has that hinge on the side where that panel folds forward. And we've got this guy's hinge. Now, the one they used for Studio Series 86 is a smaller hinge. It is not as wide, and even though it's about the same height as the Earthrise hinge, it doesn't have the same diameter as the Earthrise hinge. So it is a smaller hinge than what we saw in Earthrise. And then if we pull up Siege, where the hinge was accepted, seeing as this was supposed to be a crazy war machine, we can notice that the hinge on Siege is a bit more pronounced than even the hinge here on Earthrise. The hinge on Earthrise, they tried to lessen it a bit, but on Siege, they left it in there because the designers were like, no, we've got to make parts where it's obvious this becomes a robot. This obviously transforms because that Siege, these are the Cybertronian vehicles. They're not hiding from anybody making themselves into those vehicles. If they were going to hide in Cybertron, they would do what Soundwave did and pretend to be pieces of infrastructure. That's how you hide in Cybertron. That's why Soundwave got away with so much. He always hid as streetlights, which is clever. Uh, Back to this though. So that hinge does cut down, and they did try to make it less. And I have to say that I think it would have been if they had tried a different folding technique there. Maybe they've figured out how to put that hinge on the inside of the vehicle and given us a nice flat runner across the entire length of this. And so, I'm definitely going to be taking away half a point for that. They made the attempt, but at the end of the day, it's still a hinge on the exterior of the vehicle, and it does ruin the feel. Uh, Now, that's really all I got to say bad about this. Let's talk about the things that I absolutely love about this figure now that we've covered those bad bits. Number one is I love the fact that there is a texture for the top of a van. Like, when you feel the top of a van, you get all those weird little bumpy things. They're here. They're here. They're all textured in there. All the weird little bumpy things are textured. That's that was cool, okay? They didn't have to texture in the weird bumpy things on the top of a van. They didn't have to do that. But they did. And that makes a lot of difference here. That makes this top feel like the top of a van. Now the center bit, yeah, doesn't feel quite right, but you can just pretend it's some sort of opening that it can, the guy can open up. A sunroof, that's it. You can just pretend it's a van with a sunroof. Now, back here in the back, we've got this lovely back hatch for the van, and it picks up too. Now it doesn't like to, and sometimes this entire thing comes apart. Don't you? You are on camera. Why are you acting a butt? Don't act a butt while on camera. All right, so you can pick it up, and inside you can feel they made an attempt to kind of put in the thought of there being seats because there's two panels that we folded up from the legs earlier, and if you put your finger back there, you can feel them sticking up and pretending to be the backs of seats that are inside the vehicle. Now there's some robot kibble here, and there's some other stuff in the way, but for chug scale, actually having a rear opening door, a rear trunk opening for the vehicle mode, wow. Okay, wow. That's not a sarcastic clap. Good job, guys. Good job. Thumbs up from me, Blind Prime, to the engineering. All right. I just like some of the things you did, but I love the other things you've done. Now let's talk about the hubcaps. The hubcaps are awesome. They are really cool texture. They've got this amazing texture on them of just feels like old hubcaps from the 80s. It's beautiful. You've got they even went so far as to really get that wheel texture down. They didn't texture the interior of the wheel too much, the part that's going to be on the ground, but the part around the wheel, that's really well done. That's really well sculpted. I love the fact that on the back is this you get this round thing that's actually supposed to be where the symbol is for the car manufacturing. They actually included that, and then on the front of the vehicle, we've got, of course, some really nice headlights, a really fun bumper. This bumper is really cool. For some reason, this thing didn't actually snap into place. That's weird. There it goes. There we are. That's better. Um, we got a nice bumper there. It feels like a car bumper, but they did go the extra mile, and they sculpted in the thing some points on the bumper where it's obviously being held onto the vehicle with big screws. That's cool. And then we get the front of the van. We got a really nicely textured uh, grill for the van, and then the headlights, of course, on either side. And then they went so far as to texture in a windshield wiper. It seems like they always love texturing in windshield wipers. It's just their jam. They never forget. The headlights on this thing are very nice. I do wish they became siege ports, like the headlights on Siege right here. Yeah, those are all siege ports. He's got 4 siege ports as headlights. So I just think that one was funny. I do appreciate these headlights more, though. To be honest, that's really nice. And the windshield's the perfect amount of windshield, and just I really like this Ironhide. This is such a nice Ironhide. So I'm going to give the vehicle mode gets a 9 out of 10. Okay, I really don't have anything to complain about with this vehicle mode. I've got nothing on this. This just it makes me so happy. I like transforming it. It is a difficult yet fun transformation. The robot is highly posable. If it's it's got a few problems, but most of those are my opinion problems. Like no siege ports and stuff like that. But so overall, at the end of the day, I'm giving this entire guy Ironhide everything, all the transformation, the robot mode and the vehicle mode, all of it. It gets a 9. Gets a 9 out of 10. It is wow. It's the best thing I've messed with since Motor Master. At least this year. This year has been a good year for some of these Transformers. We've seen that in Legacy, and now we've seen it in Studio Series 86. This is really nice. Like I liked Sludge, but I love this. This is my Ironhide. This is going to be my Ironhide for a while now. This is the Ironhide to get. So, thanks for watching. Please, all y'all out there, have happy holidays and Merry Christmas. And tune in next Prime, where we'll come up with something else to talk about tomorrow. Probably something. I've got something that I could talk to you guys about. So tune in next Prime. Bye bye for now.